สดีท่านผู้มีเกียรติทุกท่านนะคะ
Good afternoon, all distinguished participants at TIJ and also on Zoom. My name is Anpavi Urnniran from TIJ Academy. I'm going to be your MC for today. And for those on Zoom, kindly open your camera and mute your microphone. And while you are listening, you can choose interpretation mode. I'd like to welcome you all to Public Forum to present the People-Centered Justice Solutions under iCPCJ or TIJ-UNODC Public Forum, People-Centered Justice Solutions in English. And iCPCJ, or Executive Program for the Implementation of International Standards and Norms in Crime Prevention and Criminal Justice, is a cooperation between Thailand Institute of Justice, or TIJ, and United Nations Office on Drugs and Crimes, or UNODC, which have been in operation since January 2022 to present. And we have teachings, field trips, and also group projects together. For today's work, there will be presentations for the project results of all the participants which adopt international standards and norms to apply in a Thai context by designing 4 topics to solve problems in the judicial process under the same concept of people-centered justice to promote the continuous and sustainable development of Thai justice system. And in this occasion, I would like to invite Professor Dr. Kittipong Kittayarak, TIJ advisor and chair advisor of iCPCJ program, to deliver opening remarks on the intent and expectations of iCPCJ and the importance to promote people-centered justice, please. Director, Executive Director, Dr. Phiset Sa-ardyen, Representative Jeremy Douglas, UNODC Regional Representative of Southeast Asia and Pacific, and also Kun Somanat Jalsikun, Director, TIJ Academy, and all distinguished participants. I am honored and pleased to deliver opening remarks on this first forum ever to present the solutions of all participants in the new program iCPCJ today. And before we listened to all the presentations, which are very, very important and very, very good, I would like to explain a little about the background of the program and why we thought of another program, despite the fact that we have a lot of causes like this. At first, I would like to congratulate Dr. Phiset Sa-ardyen, Jeremy Douglas, and also Director Somanat and Mr. Sukano Naoki for this program, which is very, very outstanding and unique. I'm very especially happy because this is something that I wanted to do since I was the executive director, but it was not a success. The reason why I think that is necessary, that TIJ can also benefit from it, from the program. First, I think TIJ is very lucky that we have partnerships like UNODC, and we are network UNPNI, which is the justice network under the good practices of all international communities like UNODC that we have norms or international standards and norms, which is like the norms and standards, good practices of all judicial process in all perspectives. And for TIJ, we aim to be the bridge of knowledge from Thailand to the international arena and also vice versa. And in the past, what we have been doing, we see cooperation with UNODC to develop norms and standards, international norms and standards to a certain extent. And in order to serve as a bridge from outside to inside the country, we are determined and committed, especially on Bangkok rules or women's prisoners. But there are a lot other things that I think is going to benefit us to serve as the bridge of knowledge. One more thing, as a practitioner in the judicial process, as a scholar, sometimes, two hats at the same time, I feel like our system, we need a lot of reform, just like other countries. And I found myself that there are problems for my whole life, that the justice system is a process. So all bodies, all organisms of all judicial process have to understand the same picture. We have to see the forest, not only one tree. Because when you see one tree or your own work, in order to reform or to move forward out of the forest, it's just impossible. You have to see the same forest together. And we have to understand the roles of all the trees in order to achieve the abundance of the forest. And when we have the standards, international standards, serve as good practices to reflect back, we will understand more and see directions more and more. Apart from that, I also think that attitudes, excuse me, and how you think, it's very important. So it is my great pleasure for this program to set mindset on people-centered justice, to refocus on the people, to be the direction, to be the compass that our program can move forward in the right direction in order to benefit the people to the best capability. So there are three reasons why we need a program like this in order to reach the target. But when we see the content and we see all the processes, I would like to congratulate you and commend you very much for all stakeholders here, because first, this program, in order to be a success, we need content, good content. So when you look at the program, you can see organizers that they have modules and components which are clear, all 8 components, which include independent studies as well. And for all 8 modules, we see clear structures, we see issues, we see challenges, and new thinking. How the justice system still lacks credibility and also innovations. That's going to support us and support the justice system overall. And I see that we see the comprehensive picture, and also we are supported by all the recommendations and studies we can learn on your own for each component or module. And it's very, very great that Mr. Jeremy has been supporting us with all renowned speakers to share with us. And not just one direction, but all participants have the opportunities to share and discuss issues in the context of Thailand as well. That is the first reason why this program is very outstanding. And the second reason is about tools, new tools, because we are so lucky that we got the high-level justice officers. So we have a lot of tools that they can apply and use to adjust the compass of justice system, design thinking, which is very important. And we go together with the people-centered justice because we think that the users will be the people who will benefit from this, and design thinking should go the same way, and as well as system thinking, that we just have that future thinking as well. We cannot find such issues, such thinking like this in other programs, so that we can have tools to apply the knowledge. One more important thing is about opportunities for us to work together like this. We will see the results. We work together with determination and compass, with people as the center. And that is going to lead to 4 topics of results. And I feel that this program is outstanding and very, very good, exceeding my expectations. So I would like to commend you again and again. And one more thing that I would like to mention is about the people-centered justice to be the flagship. That is very right to my heart, because if we in the justice system, mostly, we just think from the perspective of the government, service provider, government mainly. So for law, when they want to enforce, you see, you enforce from your point of view as a government. But actually, in order to provide access to the justice systems, we have to consider all stakeholders, and all stakeholders have limitations to access to justice differently. So if we understand the paradigm shift from users, justice provider to justice user or seekers, that's going to make you understand more how the victims of the justice system, like children, today we will discuss that, women, or marginalized people, or defendants with different backgrounds or different statuses in the society. So you can see that we can provide better access to justice for everyone. So this is not really about knowledge, but for the compass and for paradigm shift to work together like this is going to be beneficial. And I would like to congratulate you and commend you again so many times, right? Sorry. But this is from my heart. And I think that all the 4 topics that we are going to present, and we have been working together with the journey to Korea, I got feedback that they have to be better prepared because we have great questions that the organizers have to, study harder in order to answer. So this is the pride of Director Somanas. So I would like to thank you again, and I hope that this program is gonna just provide better access of justice to all people sustainably, with the heart of the people at the center. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Professor Dr. Kittipong Kittayarak. Next, I'd like to invite Mr. Jeremy Douglas, UNODC Regional Representative for Southeast Asia and the Pacific, and also iCPCJ advisor, to talk and discuss the issue of direction, standards, and international norms of crime prevention in Thailand and Southeast Asia. Please.
Good afternoon, Swadee Kap, Tan Kittipong, Dr. Phiset, participants, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of my team and the UNODC office in Bangkok, I'd like to congratulate the TIJ. And just to build on something you just said, Tan Kittipong, the reality is we can't move our agenda without very strong partners and key partners. And you complimented us for the standards and norms, but I compliment you for the vision you've had to put together events like this and work with such talent as Dr. Phiset and to really advance the effort here in Thailand and in the region, and we're really grateful for that. So on behalf of UNODC, thank you for the invitation and for the partnership that you've shown in this effort. Thank you. So it's really my pleasure to open this event and to be invited to do so. UNODC and TIJ, we've been working together for quite some time now. I recall the opening of TIJ, and as you said, these events have been a long time coming, but here they are, and we hope that this will really advance the effort here in Thailand. But we've enjoyed close cooperation over the years and partnership, and TIJ as one of our PNIs, Program Network Institutes, on crime prevention and criminal justice has played an incredibly important role contributing to the development of standards and norms here. And we, as the custodian of standards and norms, very proudly work with TIJ and with PNIs to advance them. And we've done this for many years, including also drawing the TIJ and Thai expertise into the development of standards and norms through our expert groups in Vienna, some of which have come out to the field and out to countries like Thailand, and also through the development of the Bangkok Rules, which are named the Bangkok Rules for a reason. Thailand played a leadership role at a global level to bring the Bangkok Rules to fruition and advance them with member states, and we're incredibly indebted for that as an organization. It is a challenge, of course, to implement these instruments, especially taking into account local contexts and practices are so different around the world. And UNODC and TIJ have really advanced them here, but also in the region. And I reflect on the fact that, in the past, as an organization, we went with Her Highness, our Goodwill Ambassador, to Indonesia to discuss standards and norms and the Bangkok Rules with that government. We've advanced them also in global discussions with her and with yourself, and we're really pleased with that. And in this regard, the iCPCJ has opened a new opportunity for us, actually, to really explore with criminal justice practitioners how we can work together with the private sector and with other stakeholders in developing and implementing standards and norms for crime prevention and criminal justice in the context here. And it's a unique platform for us to do so. And this unique approach of the iCPCJ is commendable, both for helping us to achieve the SDGs related to justice, especially goal 16, which is about promoting peaceful and inclusive societies, access to justice for all. It's really the core driver for a lot of the work that we do as an organization. And our new regional program in Southeast Asia has been positioned as a support mechanism to help member states to advance them. And we're working closely with our Thai colleagues and Thai Foreign Ministry, Thai Justice Ministry to advance SDG 16. So it's an important initiative. This iCPCJ is an important initiative for us. We see it as that way, to really advance SDG 16 here, and discussions that we can reference actually in the region with other governments that maybe they consider what is discussed in forums like this. And it also contributes to the Kyoto Declaration, which was adopted last year at the 14th UN Crime Congress, which some of you attended, virtual, but nonetheless, an important seminal moment for us because it's in forums like that we really advance some of those discussions which we aim to advance yearly through the CCPCJ in Vienna, but really need momentum at a global level, drawing all member states, not just simply the members of our commission, together at the highest of levels. And that, Japan really, and my colleagues from the MOJ would say this, really did succeed despite the challenges of COVID. And so thank you for that. And in this connection, I'd like to draw your attention to the most recent initiative in developing UN standards and norms. This year at the the Commission, UN member states adopted a resolution entitled Reducing Reoffending Through Rehabilitation and Reintegration. And this resolution encourages member states to promote stakeholder partnership to reduce reoffending by fostering interagency coordination amongst government authorities, but importantly, public-private partnership between these authorities and the community. And as you just said, sir, the fact is that we have to think of ourselves differently. It's not just about enforcing laws. It is about drawing the community into the solutions to implement the laws, make people feel as though they are part of the solution. And really that also means that we need a whole of society approach involving the private sector, involving the government working together. And this resolution further requests that we convene an intergovernmental meeting with a view to developing model strategies to reduce reoffending, which can serve as a useful tool for member states, and take into account relevant provisions of existing standards and norms and current developments. And of course, this is where we see Thailand playing a key role, is through those discussions and expert working groups. But what has been achieved through the iCPCJ initiative can contribute to shaping the most recent standards and norms, reflecting the context of Thailand and indeed, we hope, also Southeast Asia. The iCPCJ, with its extensive series of webinars and lectures, covered various topics, and we were very happy to contribute throughout the development of these various topics and discussions. And it has provided an excellent opportunity for everyone to gain knowledge and understanding of the concepts and principles of relevant international standards and norms. And based on this, the participants had opportunities to further enhance their insights. We hope it was helpful in translating, of course, innovative actions and into innovative actions and initiatives on behalf of those that were participating. So we'll hear today the products of such project-based or learning, or as you rightly said, design thinking, and should inspire all stakeholders involved in crime prevention and criminal justice in a very different way than we're used to. And I think that design thinking really comes through in contexts like this. It's pretty great opportunity for folks to learn, but also to collaborate, to share. And building on your achievements, the UNODC will continue to strengthen a partnership with TIJ and to work with TIJ, shaping together the standards and norms in crime prevention and criminal justice here in Thailand and Southeast Asia. So I really wish you every success with this, and thank you again for the invitation and for the ongoing partnership without which we wouldn't be here today. Thank you very much.
ขอขอบคุณนะคะคุณเจเรมีดักลาสเป็นอย่างสูงค่ะ
Thank you very much, Mr. Jeremy Douglas, for being here with us today. And next, ladies and gentlemen, you'll be hearing the proposals for justice problems.
น่าสนใจค่ะ
So there will be 4 topics covered today. If you have any questions, please keep your questions and then you can ask during the Q&A session after. So keep the questions and then you can ask it after each presentation. So for participants over on Zoom, you can, of course, turn on your camera and then ask the questions away during the Q&A session as well. So I believe we're all more than ready to hear the presentations from our distinguished guests. So for the first topic, we are going to hear the topic of getting the right start, recognizing the rights of the children of prisoners. So these are going to be about the policy recommendations in order to promote and protect child's rights. So ladies and gentlemen, may I invite Ms. Kornvilai Theppankunnam. She's from the Ending Violence Against Women program, and also Na Jantawong from the Institute for Good Governance Promotion. May I have your honor, please? Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Na Jantawong, or you can call me Kong. Hello, Kun Kong, and hello, all the participants who are with us here on site and over on Zoom as well. My name is Kornvilai Theppankunnam, Kun Kong. So, ladies and gentlemen, the topic we will be covering today is, of course, we are trying to demystify the way the society sees that whenever the offense is committed, that person should receive criminal sentencing. However, for children of prisoners, though, children of prisoners, do they deserve that too? Should they be labeled as prisoners too? So where is the justice on this? In order to understand this topic a little bit better, please listen to the one prisoner, who's a female prisoner, to talk to us today. So my name is A. I was sentenced for prison because of embezzlement offense. And of course, I was ready to face the charge. It's been 8 years being imprisoned, and at the Samut Prakan Correctional Facility. I'm lucky because they have the mother and child unit here, and it's a good living condition. But I also miss my other child who is only 2, who is living outside. I have to put her under someone else's care. And so for me to be here, I feel like I'm a burden to others. I don't have jobs. I don't have any income. My husband and my mother have to shoulder more burdens. So if possible, of course, I would like to have other alternatives that are for pregnant women who probably have not committed very serious crimes, so that we are allowed to take care of our children without having to be imprisoned. I think that could be more beneficial towards children, and I will not have to become burden to others. My name is Jay. I'm 34 years old. I was charged with having drug in possession for sales. I pled guilty, and the court have convicted prison sentence, and then they also required me to pay 100,000 baht for fine, but I didn't have any money, so I couldn't bail myself out, hence my terms here at the prison. And I was already pregnant when I was sentenced to prison. Like many others at the correctional facility, I was lucky to be well taken care of. But the problem is I don't want to see my children growing up in this facility. If there are other alternatives, I would love to do that. I would love to, accept things like EM bracelets. Even though I'm restricted geographically, it's still okay. And I'm not embarrassed to be wearing EM bracelets as long as I can be with my child. So what you have heard just now is the voice of prisoners under the Department of Corrections in Thailand. It's a pity that I couldn't give you the real voices. It's actually the voice of our team trying to tell you what is going on from the prisoner's point of view. And in order to make this problem clearer, let's look at the prisoner statistics in Thailand. Let's look at the current situation and severity of this problem. The first thing I would like you to see is the prisoner statistics. So you can see here that children under the age of 3 years old, there are about 73 children under 3 at 34 correctional facilities, and there are 156 prisoners who are pregnant at 58 correctional facilities. So currently we have 107 prison facilities that can accommodate pregnant women or pregnant inmates. And this number is not that high, partly because correctional facilities are not really ready to accommodate these people that don't have the setting or the room or the zone to take care of them. And if we look at the offenses, the nature of offenses that are commonly found among inmates or pregnant inmates, majority of them are drug-related offenses. And the sentence term is about 3 to 4 years, so not too long. But if you look from the perspective of a mother, it's very interesting, actually. So from the perspective of a mother, of course, they would like to be close to their children or to their child. And when some of them are not able to do that or not able to take care of children by themselves, they'll have to put children under the care of other people. However, there might not be any relatives to take care of children, or it's really hard to put the child under other people's custody. Another challenge is it's very hard for them to conduct a visit, and maybe inadequate time to conduct visits, or maybe problems related to accommodation, travels. And this is very interesting, hearing from the perspective of a mother. Of course, she's worried about the impact on herself and on the child, and also the need to be close to their own children. And the statistics are very interesting. because when you pointed out that majority of the pregnant inmates haven't committed serious crimes. And so the serving term at the prison is about 3 to 4 years, so not too long. So now let's look from the point of view of the correctional facilities or the corrections department, of course, from the Ministry of Justice as well. Because when you talk about the readiness, it's very, really hard. One of the first thing is that the prison is trying to find someone outside to take care of the children. And if there are no other people to take care of the children, then of course they will have to let the child being under the care of their pregnant or the inmate mother, and they will have to shoulder other resources, finding things like providing facilities and providing equipment, or trying to designate specific cells to take care of both the mother and the child. And there are many challenges regarding this. And if you were to look at the legal perspective here, you can see that there are many relevant laws and regulations in order to make sure that we have a clear standards of practice. And so on the left-hand side, of course, you can see there are relevant laws and regulations have been translated into management approaches on the right-hand side. So we have seen things like the Inspire project, the process of child rallying, child care, but at the practical level, of course, not all facilities are able to take care of these adequately, and that depends on the readiness of the correctional facilities. And on top of the legal considerations, of course, there are many other relevant law as well, especially including Child Protection Act, because they provided explicitly how to treat children, and then trying to uphold the best interest of children. And also on the Criminal Procedure Code, Section 246 also provided that there are ways to reduce the sentence terms for female inmates, especially those who are pregnant or those who have dependent children. So this is one thing you can ask for or ask the court for in order to reduce the sentence term. And also there are provisions in the ministerial regulations as well, providing the facilities to take care of both the child and the mother. Now we have heard from the correctional facilities, you can hear from the mother side. Now we would like to see the impacts on children. What have they faced as a result of their mothers being imprisoned? Of course, the way we look at it is that it's not fair for these children because they haven't done anything wrong, but they have to be included or they have to face negative impacts from what happened. So from the statistics we gathered or from the research, both children who are with the inmate parents or those who have to live outside, all of these children are facing very difficult situations. So things like family environment is not inadequate, stigmatization and isolation, impact on development, academic performance, negative impact on family income, and they're also at risk of anti-social behaviors. They're more at risk of being involved in criminal activities, drug use, or victimization. And also, if we look at the international principles and best practices, of course, there are international standards regarding this. However, there are still gaps. I will talk to you about the gaps now. So of course, they have been impacted from the criminal justice system. And we have the international principles like Convention on the Rights of the Child, or CRC. But the CRC doesn't really provide anything explicitly on the children of prisoners. They actually provide things like right to life, survival, and development, non-discrimination principles, best interest of the child. This is very, very important. These best interests of the child. We have to consider the impacts posed on the children and also make sure that we uphold uphold the best interest of the child, trying to minimize impacts on them and trying to uphold or fulfill our commitment to uphold the best interest of the child, and also make sure that the child have this right to participate in decision making, and they have the right to protection and response and in prevention of violence against children. So from literature review, we have also learned from Mandela rules, Bangkok rules, Tokyo rules. These instruments are international standards that provide provisions that are for individuals, not particularly or specifically for children. So things like in Mandela rules, they also talk about the prenatal, postnatal care and treatment, how to treat children. And then it can be used when you have to consider where the child should be, not right from the start when they are arrested with their mothers. And so the Mandela rules will provide things like no use of instruments of restraint on mother, or on Bangkok rules, they are trying to promote non-custodial sentences or non-custodial measures for pregnant women or women with dependent children. Only when the offense is not serious or violent, of course. So the offense like this in Thailand, majority of pregnant inmates in Thailand, of course, they are able to get access to non-custodial sentences or measures. And Bangkok rules also talk about trying to provide a safe and healthy environment for mothers and child. And also for Tokyo rules, this is another international standards that are trying to promote non-custodial measures, which include many measures right from the start to the end of the trial or of the criminal justice system as well. And also they promote closely monitoring and evaluating the use of non-custodial measures, of course. On top of that, we have also learned from best practices from around the world that can be applied in Thailand. And one that I would like to point out is from Italy and Scotland. So you can see that in Italy and Scotland, mothers who are prisoners, right? Or you can be fathers as well. They are the key person who can take care of children. So children under the age of 10 years, not just 3 years in Thailand. So they can be under measures like house arrest. So this is for the best interest of the child. And also in Scotland, they also work together with an NGO called Circle to provide information of the impacts and of the effects on children, so that the chief of certain districts can make sure that the child has been taken care of and according to the best interest. So all these best practices that we have learned so far, there are 4 things that we can apply here in Thailand. The first thing is, of course, the best interest of the child should be upheld right from the arrest down until the end of the criminal justice system. And you also have to consider other innovations, for example, house arrest, maybe the use of corrections technology on probation and parole, and also trying to promote community-based treatment of the child and trying to evaluate the impacts on children, and also promoting the relationship building or bond building between prisoners and their children, be it at the prisons or outside of the prison itself. And there are policy recommendations that we would like to propose here. You can see that things that we would like to change, or the gaps that we recognize, are related to 4 key principles. The first one is very important, and it's the key of how to integrate other measures is, of course, the best interest of the child. You have to respect that each individual child as an individual is a person who should receive this kind of treatment. And all the second things that we would like to promote is non-custodial measures. So we have to consider, are there any other alternatives to imprisonment, especially when it's non-serious or non-violent crimes? Another thing is to promote bonding and attachment between prisoners and children. It doesn't have to be mothers per se. You can also promote bonding between father and their children as well. And also trying to fulfill and protect child's rights. So that leads to our policy recommendations in order to improve the standards that are implemented here in Thailand. I don't think the standards that we have doesn't really include child's rights explicitly. So we would like to propose that the first thing is we have to start upholding the child's best interest right from the start, and we have to uphold it and fulfill it all the way through the criminal justice process. And also we have to make sure that non-custodial measures are implemented. Another thing is the key parents or the parents of the children should be included. We have to consider that the parents might not be mothers alone, but might also include fathers who have to be involved with child rearing and child care. And in considering the placement of children, we have to have the tools to evaluate where is the best place for this child, and also trying to fulfill, making sure that their best interest is fulfilled no matter where they are, and also trying to minimize negative impacts on children. We have to be flexible for parents to take care of these children too, and also trying to promote attachment and bond building between parents and child. And on reintegrating children to the society, of course, parents should also be released together with children. And so we need to make sure that they are really prepared. There must be programs to make sure that they are prepared to be reintegrated, and also trying to work with children with disability or foreign children as well. And it's too bad that we haven't really collected enough information about children of prisoners. So I think this is very important, and we need to make sure that it's confidential as well. So all of this, everything that I've talked about, tied into integration and cooperation between different sectors. And our group has established a policy brief. If you can see the QR code right here, we will submit it to TIJ and to UNODC in order to propel and promote this to the international level. And now let's look at the solutions for Thailand. Of course, we can see the policy recommendations in trying to promote international standards being implemented here in Thailand. Now we have to think of, what are the things that we can drive here in Thailand in the context here. So we have created a short-term and long-term recommendation. So for the long-term recommendation, for the short-term recommendation, there are two things. First, we are trying to raise more awareness among relevant parties. Like we talked about the existing laws and regulations, but then people who are involved might not be aware that we have these legal instruments to be used or how to apply it. And the next thing is trying to find other alternatives to imprisonment. Of course, there are non-custodial measures, but we have to consider it together with trying to amend ministerial regulations in order to make it more appropriate for Thailand, because people might think that, of course, ministerial regulations might be easier to amend compared to other laws. So I think that can be done in a short-term period. However, in the long term, we have to think about legal amendments as well, trying to make it more consistent with international standards and best practices from abroad, and also trying to build partnerships and cooperation between relevant parties. I think that's very, very important. So from all these proposals that we make, what can we do after this? This is a good question, actually. So our group proposed that what can be done right away as a quick win is the section 246 from the Criminal Procedure Code, and that is for people to use it right away, because it stipulates that when the accused person or the accused person's spouse or relative, or the public prosecutor, penitentiary commander authority, they have the duty of executing the warrant of imprisonment has requested, or the court considers it is proper. The court shall have power to give the order of respite for imprisonment until the cause reasonable for respite shall be finished. This is a very, very important law, this section 246. However, we haven't seen this being implemented enough, despite the fact that they are eligible. This is probably because, let's look here, that a lot of people might harbor this belief that the offender should serve their terms, but they might forget that those who are impacted are not only the offender, but also children. They are invisible in the criminal justice process. So we shouldn't wait until they have to ask us, what did I do wrong? Why do I have to be imprisoned together with my parents? So the quick win is Section 246 of the Criminal Procedure Code. Let's raise more awareness of this law. Thank you very much. And so our group would like to say thank you to all relevant parties for being part of this and also providing us with good feedbacks. Thank you very much for the opportunity for us to be here today.
เดี๋ยวพี่ก้องกับพี่ก้อยอยู่ต่ออีกแป๊บนึงนะคะในช่วงนี้นะคะจะเปิดโอกาสนะคะให้ท่านผู้เข้าร่วมนะคะได้ถามคำถามค่ะในห้อง
So please be here with us right now for the Q&A session. If any of you here have any questions, please raise your hands. For participants over on Zoom as well, if it's convenient for you, please turn on your camera and turn on your microphone and ask the questions. Are there any questions here? Who would like to ask questions?
ค่ะถ้าอย่างนั้นนะคะขออนุญาตค่ะพอดีทางซูมนะคะจะมีพี่นะคะเดี๋ยวขออนุญาตเปิดไมค์
So we have a question from Kun Mehdi over on Zoom. Please turn on your microphone and your camera.
Yes, I hope you can hear me. I'd like to congratulate, first of all, TIJ for this initiative. And also I'd like to congratulate both of these speakers on giving a very short, but still very concise overview of the challenges, the situation, the existing international standards, norms, best practices, and even Thai legislation. You also had some very good suggestions as to national policy in Thailand. But if I could go to the international aspect, given that there is best practice in some countries which you have referred to, for example, Italy and Scotland, would this be a suitable topic for getting support from these countries with best practices and seeing if you could develop new guidelines or UN standards? And again, congratulations.
May I? If I may, first of all, Kun Mehdi, thank you so much for your suggestion from the floor, from afar in Finland, and also for being behind the outcome of the team, recommendations. You help us a lot in terms of guiding us through making the policy brief. And your suggestion on engaging the countries that already show the good standards in terms of drafting the new standards and norms, I think that's very strategic and very relevant. And I think myself and our team is more than happy to support back up TIJ and UNODC to build the new standards in terms of, protections and respect for the rights of children deprived of liberty through as a result of being a children of the prisoners. I don't know whether we answer well your questions, but I take your, as a suggestion for our next step. Thank you, maybe Kun Aim.
ค่ะขอบคุณคำถามจากคุณแมตตี้มากๆเลยนะคะต่อไป
So thank you very much for the questions from Kun Mehdi. Now we have another questions here. Actually not a question per se, but I would like to congratulate the Positive Thinking Group and also your team members. So I have the chance to engage with your team members all along, and I have seen your dedication, your commitment in trying to look at this problem from different perspectives. So I'm very glad to see from the day you start this project I can see that you have built a lot of relevant materials to be developed or to be built upon. And in trying to propel the implementation of international standards and norms, I think TIJ and our organization, and also I think that TIJ have talked to UNODC before in Vienna that this is a gap in trying to implement in the local context. So I think there are things for other rooms for improvement and to work. So I think there are things that there are standards provided in the Mandela rules or in the Bangkok rules. I think the dimension of mother and child is very important because every time we conduct research in the prison facilities, we always hear that children are the hope for the female or for the parental inmates in order to be reintegrated back into the society. So I think in trying to link these two topics together and in order to try to also push forward reduction of recidivism, I think that's very relevant and it can be something that we can work upon in the future. Thank you very much. So thank you, the opinion from Kun M, and I would like to say thank you very much, both Kun Koi and Kun Kong, for being us here with us today. Please give them a big round of applause.
สำหรับลำดับต่อไปนะคะค่ะยังคงเป็นประเด็น
is still an issue of interest about children and youth. And it's a group of children and youth who have misstepped and how to prepare the children to return to the society normally. On the topic of helping youth who have misstepped back into the society with good lives model assessment tool. And our representatives, I would like to invite Kun Prem Yuda Tantik Kanok Pon, Director of Rights and Liberties Protection Division, Kun Chotima Suraritatham, Director of Juvenile Vocational Training Center, Smut Prakan from DJOP, Department of Juvenile Observation and Protection, Kun Thanachai Suntaraves, Senior Manager, Social Partnership and Public Engagement, and Kun Soravit Rimpa Rangsi, Judge. Good afternoon, participants from TIJ and Zoom. Before I begin, I would like to tell you an anecdote. Every month I visit twice or one time to the juvenile court, and every time I talked to juveniles. And last week I talked to juveniles who misstepped his name. Let's say he is Nat, and his family is separated since he was very young, and he stays with his grandmom, who is very old, and she has to work every day. And at junior high school, he just got with some groups nearby his home, and he got arrested of the larceny. And the judge let him join the vocational center for 1 year, and after he got released, he didn't have enough qualification and education to find jobs. He wants to work, he wants money. So his friends asked him to be the couriers of narcotics for 3 times. And of course, he got arrested by the police and he got convicted. So you see pictures like this every month. Not only that got these problems, we can listen to other juveniles as well. I'm homeless. I am the courier for my boyfriend. My family separated and I stay with grandmom. I quit since junior high school. And nearby my home, there were narcotics and also gambling. I got some unknown illness. I don't know where to go and who to stay with. I want to graduate so that I can find work and have good future so that I don't need to come back to this place again. So you see important figures here. because at present we have special measures for our youth so that they don't need to join the centers. You can see the numbers here. For those who are in the centers and got released, you can see recidivism rates here in 2016. You can see about 200 to 2,000 here, got released 2.5 here. And after release, they got arrested, they repeat the offense to 22 to 25%, which is high, like 1/4. So within the first 3 years after release, it's high as 43%. So the question is why? What happened? So that's why TIJ-OP, we have measures and practices to prevent recidivism so that youth and TIJ-OP, how they cope with this issue. So we will get to listen from Kun Chotima, who is experienced in psychology, to answer us. In order to get them ready before integration or into the society, especially for those from different backgrounds and issues, we will assess first about the issues related to recidivism. When we assess, this is only the first step before the next step of planning and rehabilitation case by case. So in the past, the TIJ-OP, we tried to improve the process of rehabilitation to be more efficient and effective. We use principles, international principles, which is risk need responsivity model, or RNR, which focuses on the solutions and see the risks in order to reduce the recidivism of youth. And TIJ-OP, we use this framework to try to find the risk factors. And we will just provide recommendations how to take care of youth and how we can rehabilitate them and integrate them back into the society. And from our experience, we can see that some groups of youth, they have low motivation to improve themselves. And some cases, they are hopeless. They feel disappointed. They feel hopeless. After release, they don't know what to do. So these are the challenges for TIJ-OP to fix. And from the challenges, we studied and we found that there are another principle that we can help fix a problem, which is, we call it Good Lives Model, or GLM, which is related to the goals of persons. We use this one for social workers to interview, assess the demands or the life goals of the juveniles, and we will prepare the plan before they get released from the center. And from the experience and the past work, we can see that in practice, it's not really in the same direction. From the understanding of social workers, they have different understandings. That's why they focus differently. That's why in practice, it's not as effective as it should be, and we can fix it. And our group develops a tool that's going to help fix this problem, which is we use TLM in the tool. So before we begin to understand, I would like you to understand additionally about TLM principle first. So Kun Thanachai will explain more what are the principles of TLM. Good Lives Model, or TLM, is universal principle to find the goals of life for each person. There are many points, but for youth in the centers, not more than 24 years old, there are 5 that I think is enough. So 5 points here. First, family. Family, we see the relationships and the background and the status of the family of the youth, that members are addicts or not, or they use any substances or not, or which member is the closest member with the youth. And next is about education and occupation. They want to learn or not, they want to study or not, what they want to learn, vocational or regular curriculum, and why they are not in education. Parents want them to work, or they don't have money, or they don't want to learn. They don't want to study. What about work? If you don't want to study, what occupations they want, what professions they want, and how much they understand about that profession that they want to do. Next is about their house, their residence. They have to move continuously, or they have stable places to live. This is important for follow-up as well. And also about the nearby areas. They have any system in place to prevent the illegal activities or not. Next is about spare time and friendship. What activities they want? Music, sports, reading, gaming. What activities? How many hours per day? What about his close friends? How frequent they see this person? Or they have girlfriend, boyfriend, lovers, friends, and how influential are their friends are. The final one is about health. This is new for DJOP as well, because when we are doing the assessment, we also update our tool with this health. Health is mental and physical as well. We want to see that what health issues they have and how we can heal or treat that, or they have access to treatment or not. So this is the 5 points of good life model, and we believe that we can try to find what they want. So next, the presenter will talk more. Kun Prayula, please. So this is the definition from Kun Thanachai mentioned that is related to the design of questionnaires in the assessment tools in 5 areas. So you see the tool. We will let social workers to interview the youth who misstepped. And we believe that is going to help us know which one needs help or support to prevent recidivism. And this is the tool that we designed. After we designed, we sent to the experts or resource persons, to 3 resource persons to check if it's in accordance with CLM or not. And the resource persons will give us recommendations, and we improve the tools. And after the improvement, we will use the tool in the pilot first in 19 centers with social workers, or 20 social workers, to interview all 40 children, female and male. So from our interview, social workers will ask in all areas and also give recommendations or any other points that are going to be useful to assess the needs of children. So from this point, social workers will give recommendations for us to improve the tools of questionnaires. And from this assessment of 40 cases, we found that the perfect complete assessments, there are altogether 37 cases that are complete. So we got it into SPSS, so we get the quality to 0.47, which is the quality of confidence. So this is satisfactory, and we can continue to use it. And before we use it, I would like you to listen to Ajahn Apinya, who is an expert of social working, what opinions he has. Actually, the tool like this, we consider is an important assessment tool. We call it need assessment tool. Assessing needs, not general needs. For me, I think needs is to design the service that is gonna meet the demands or needs, the actual needs of each person. So from social work point of view, I think this tool has the status of real application. We can use it in real life, and we can use this one with youth or children, specifically case by case. It's going to be very useful. It is like an occupational tool. It's like individual development plan or individual development plan. And how we use this tool, we can use in agencies working with children in the justice system. I think, yes, good, appropriate, and it's going to help fulfill whatever that is needed. We see evidence-based, which is going to help us to work effectively. Thank you very much, Ajahn Apinya. You can see that we see the tool that is well developed and how to use. Many of you might want to know now how to use. So Kun Chotima will explain. In order to use this one, I want to put it simply that the journey of training of youth, for us, there will be 4 phrases like this. The first one is reception. Next is classification. For classifications, in the center, we will assess in order to plan their rehabilitation process case by case. So TLM can be applied by social workers. They can interview according to the questionnaire and assessment tool. And after that, we get information to plan to get them ready before we release them. Next is about training period. Training period is to implement the plan in practice. So they will just follow through with the activities, might be learning skills, life skills, like emotional skills, anger management, or analytical skills, and also education, vocational skills according to their interests. And apart from that, social workers also work together with external networks to support in terms of rehabilitation of youth more effectively, and also meet the demands, variety of demands of youth. And in this step, the training phrase, we can use TLM to assess again in order to understand and know the status of demands that are different or not, that are changing or not. And after that, we can adjust the plan accordingly to suit the demands at present. Next, the final phrase is to get them ready before integration. It will take like 3 to 6 months before we release them. And the tool will be applied to reassess again in order to see the demands that are left or any necessary needs that they need continuous support even though they are released to the community already. So from the information in this phrase, there will be follow-up plan after release. For social workers, there will be a case manager to implement the plan after release. Especially, they will collaborate with the network to support youth after release so that they can adjust and live their lives happily. Before we get to the next one, I want you to listen to social workers that know this tool and tried already. Listen to her, what opinions she has about this tool. I see the usage of this questionnaire of GOM to adjust and help and follow up with the youth. First, we see that all the questionnaires are quite comprehensive and covering 5 areas. And it's beneficial because social workers will save a lot of time to try to pull out their potential and also find resources that youth needs in order to reach their goals in 5 areas. And also, the interview will be phrased as designed, so you can see the development from the planning and after release. Apart from that, social workers had also used this questionnaire to assess themselves, because the periods that are different, you can assess that you have done good work or not to pull out their potentials and also find resources to support them, which is enough or not, in order to reach the goals in 5 areas. Apart from that, apart from GOM, we also have another thing, which is network catalog. Kun Premyuda will explain about the network catalog. Network catalog here, I would like you to think of when we use this tool, is only like classify that perhaps this use needs what, that's all, right? But in order to apply it in real life, in practice, we need networks, we need agencies, we need all sectors in the community to help them, to strengthen them, to support them and their lives after release. So that's why we develop network catalog. And this network catalog consists of all networks. From our catalog and from survey, we survey from all the commissions altogether 120 people, and they will just answer what they want or what they can support them, and we just categorize them in to suit the 5 areas that we analyzed before this. So you see the tables here from the catalog and network. The objective is that we want the youth to be the center that everybody has to support and has to help them. And you can see that we got these results already, but we still can develop and improve this, and we see challenges as well. Kutanachai will share about challenges. Overall, the tool to assess them based on GLM, you can see the quality, the numbers, the quantity like the numbers, and quality as well, because we go deep in details in order to fix and design help and support individually. And for social workers, we can pass on information because we have standardized questionnaires. So from this dimension and perspective, the tool can be used from the upstream in classification and also after release, before release and after release, follow up the release. So I think individually you can compare the development. From the point of view of social workers, information will change all the time. So they can checklist that they have completed everything or not. So for network catalog, you also can pull resources from that, perhaps from committee of social workers. But after trials, we still got recommendations from social workers to improve in terms of questionnaires, that they need it to be more simple or concise, and also the order of questionnaires, that they want to start from the questions close to their heart first. So during orientation, we see that social workers need manuals as well. In order to expand the results in the future, we believe that if we have data, for example, 3-year data, we can see differences from children with the use of GLM and children without. So we can see that recidivism is there at 22 to 25%. So we can focus and follow up with 1 to 3 years. And now you see, if you achieved single digit, it means that our assessment tool is successful, right? So if we are successful, all agencies related to youth, like juvenile courts, schools, or our facilities of our Ministry of Human Development, they all can use and expand the results in the future. For those who are interested in our tool, please download QR code here. For juveniles, I believe that everybody is aware that justice system focuses on them. Why? Because juveniles today are our future in the future of the country, right? What future will look like, it depends on youth to replace us in the next generation. But from the statistics, you understand, right? That within a year, they commit crimes again, 1/4. And within 3 years, it's 34%. So we have to review what we do today. Is right or not? I believe many of you have heard of Einstein's insanity is you do the same things but expect different results, which is impossible. So in this issue, the tool and questionnaires like this that we developed might be an ingredient of recipe of your food. If you adjust something, results and tastes will be different, right? So from this assessment tool, I believe that in practice, if we improve continuously, I believe that all the children, when they go back in the society, they can compete proudly and they will have better future. Thank you very much. If you have questions, please. Any questions? You can let us know. You can type in chat or in this room if you want to ask questions or you want to give any comments. Just raise your hands. Zoom, you have any comments? อาจารย์เตย on Zoom. Can you open the camera and yeah, we will hear from her. Good afternoon. As others, I would like to commend TIJ for this activity and also your group. I don't have questions, but Ajahn Sarawit talked about something that I think one of the points that perhaps we can reflect back a bit, especially from Kun Sarawit, that your tool is very interesting and I think it's very good and beneficial. But when we use, especially when they got into the center, for the questions might be more beneficial if we can use this one in the court, before the court, during the trial, before they send them to anything, so that they have directions to correct themselves, to give them opportunities to rehabilitate or before they got sent to the center. That is all my take. Thank you. Actually, why we use this with the centers, because we have time frame to get them ready, to adjust, to adapt, and to support. But as others said, that this is only the starting point, that the assessment tool starting from the center. But it doesn't mean that we stop here. From this moment on, after improvement of the tool, I believe that it can be applied in other sectors in the justice system, not only in the centers, perhaps in juvenile courts as well. As Ajahn Tey said, that there is potential that we can use this tool in the future. Thank you. Thank you very much from the question. And please, another round of applause. Thank you very much.
สำหรับลำดับต่อไปนะคะจะเป็นประเด็นนะคะเกี่ยวกับเรื่อง
Next, we are going to hear the topic of how the private sector can get involved in the rehabilitation of children and youth in the criminal justice system. And so We would hear about creating training facilities, and the topic is Into the House of Blessing, a sandbox for collaborative justice. Today, we have the honor of Dr. Kittayarak Dilok. She is the Director of Institute for Justice Research and Development from the Office of Justice Affairs. Please, the floor is yours. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Kittayarak Dilok. I am very proud to be presenting our topic today so that you can be more well informed of how the civil society sector to get involved in the rehabilitation of children and youths in the criminal justice system. So the topic today is Into the House of Blessing, a sandbox for collaborative justice. So the name is pretty long, but I think it captures very well of what I would like to talk about today. And so the key objectives is part of the lessons or the curriculum that I would like to develop is that we are trying to implement international standards and norms in criminal justice for juveniles. So we would like to opt for alternatives like non-custodial measures. And so the key objectives is there are 3 reduces, 2 increases. So in 3 reductions of things is that first we would like to reduce the number of children or juveniles in detention facilities. Of course, we are seeing that trend at the moment, right? And over the past 5 years, it's been decreased from 26,000 to 14,000 cases. So about half reduction. But then apparently there are more juveniles in detention facilities. So it has increased from to 12% to 14%. And so this is not inconsistent with the UN standards that are trying to promote the reduction of juveniles in detention centers. And also, we also found that these juveniles have also been exposed to cumulative disadvantage. What does this mean? It means that prior to be part of the criminal justice system, we found that these children might be lacking in terms of having a good family environment, maybe low or no access to quality education. So when they enter detention facilities, they are cut. The ties are cut from the family, from the society, and they're taken away from that. And it increases the risk of them being exposed to violence in the criminal justice system. Although the system itself has a very good wills or is committed to trying to rehabilitate these children, but the fact that they are being taken away when they are being isolated from the usual environment that are found or that should be appropriate for normal children, that increases cumulative disadvantage that they have and reduces the risk for them to recommit offenses. So that increases recidivism. And so there are really high likelihood of recidivism after they're being released from these detention centers. And we would like to see 2 increases in terms of the increase in participation of the private and civil society sectors. And of course, when the juvenile offenders committed offense, right? Part of it is because of their upbringing. And so the family and the community should be involved in trying to rehabilitate these children so that they have become good citizens to the society and they are positively involved with the society. That leads us to a sustainable solution to this problem. So once we reduce the number of juvenile offenders into the detention facilities, we reduce the cumulative disadvantage, we reduce the recidivism, then we increase the participation of the private and civil society sectors. That can also increase the opportunity for, as I said, well-behaved children to be reintegrated back into the society. So our methodologies in order to develop our approach, we started from studying the UN standards and norms. So both from the UN, of course, and also at the international level, we would like to see what they recommend us to do. And we also study the rules and laws and approaches in Thailand as well. Are there any laws that allow the criminal justice process to coordinate or to work together with the private and also civil society sectors, because without the law, we cannot do anything. And we also interview executives from relevant bodies from the public sector. Say, for example, the Department of Juvenile Observation and Protection, or DJOP. And we also talk to the House of Blessings as well. And then we also invited them for focus group interviews, because we would like to see what are the needs and wants from these both parties. And we also do some field trips as well. And we found that it's very surprising to me, actually, because even though Thailand has adopted the Child Convention, and also we also have the master plan, and we have the UN strategy to reduce violation that children in the criminal justice process might be exposed to. There are instruments like this, but it doesn't go into the practical level that can really create positive impact for these juveniles. For example, the Child Convention, 20 years after it's being rectified, and we started to reduce and to create a law based on it. So it's 20 years lag in there. And also we started to see the Administration of Juvenile Offenders Rehabilitation Act, and then there's Juvenile and Family Court and Procedure. You can see that it's being introduced in 2010, 2018. So it's a bit lacking in terms of how we started to implement these rules and laws. And also we only recently saw the licensing scheme where, we allow private entities to establish vocational training institutes or psychological counseling institutes. So I think since we have the law, why don't we use the law to our advantage in order to propel positive progress in this area? And the next thing is on the preparation, in the readiness of the organizations that we already have. So after the field trips to, say, House of Blessing, which is another foundation in Thailand that works to provide care and treatment to offenders after they're being released. So it's a place where they provide opportunity for juveniles, and it's located in the community and very accessible. It's like a house. And so they are well equipped with the knowledge and skills to study or to work together with children. What do they want in terms of accommodation, vocational training, education, and also psychological counseling? And it is very well accepted, and both from the Department of Juvenile Observation and Protection as well. So this is something that I can see that this is an organization with the legitimacy, and also they are very able to take care of the juveniles. What is lacking here is that there is no clear expectations provided by the public sector. What does the government wants to see? Of course, they say, oh, I want to see more partnership with the public sector or the private sector, but it's not clear yet. There is no clear guidelines or clear expectations in terms of the practices, in terms of the guidance. Should they be evaluated? But what is the evaluation criteria? How do we evaluate these civil society organizations? You only say you want partnership, you want the partnership in here, but you don't provide them with the clear guidelines. And also, I think the relationship is like, when you have an employer, right? An employer will set the guidelines of what they would like you to do. And from the part of the House of Blessing, they also have this question of, do you really need my participation in this? Do you really want me to be involved? I don't want to be your employee. I want to be your partner in this relationship. So I think with this, I could see that we need to bring these two bodies or two sectors together in order to implement international standards and regulations, in order to implement non-custodial measures to make it a reality. So there are 4 recommendations we have come up with. The first one is on administration, and then on place and facilities, on rehabilitation programs, and also personnel to take care of children and youths or juveniles. So when it comes to budget allocation, it must be clear, it must be precise, and also comprehensive and very flexible as well. You cannot just see the private sector as the public sector, because the private sector has their own way of working, their own ways of operation, and they might be more flexible. And in trying to promote rehabilitation programs, of course, civil society sectors or organizations might have their own ways of working with things, but it might be more effective in trying to reduce recidivism. And then when it comes to personnels to take care of juveniles, if we do not see civil society organizations not as your employees, but your partners, then the collaboration can really go to the level of capacity building and to develop new personnel who are capable of taking care of juveniles. And for place and facilities, I think it's all about trying to make sure that it's hygienic, that it's appropriate for children's development. And so all these 4 factors or these 4 dimensions should work together in order to propel progress. And from our study, after doing literature review of the international standards and rules and laws, we have also found this hidden gem in the community, and we picked up this gem and then trying to polish the gem and trying to present this gem that we found to the public sector. But as you guys probably have heard that a picture tells 1,000 words, right? We, instead of a picture, we created a video instead in order to publicize this gem to more people in the community. So it helps to reduce the burden to the public sector of how to study this House of Blessing. So we have approached the House of Blessings, and then we've created this video, and we hope that this video can be promoted to the executive levels of relevant public sectors bodies, so that we can start the communication between the public sector and also the civil society sector in order to make sure that we all walk together on this path towards a better criminal justice system. So this is about 7 minutes long. Ladies and gentlemen, please watch.
ผู้ก้าวข้ามสำหรับคุณเขาคือใครผู้ที่ก้าวข้ามจากสิ่งที่ตัวเองเป็นอยู่เพื่อไปทำสิ่งที่ผิดหรือผู้ที่ก้าวข้ามความผิดพลาดของตัวเองเพื่อกลับไปสู่ชีวิตที่มีคุณค่าไม่ว่าจะเป็นการก้าวข้ามแบบไหนโอกาสเป็นสิ่งที่ขาดไม่ได้และโอกาสไม่ใช่สิ่งที่จะได้รับง่ายๆสำหรับผู้ก้าวพลาดแม้ว่าจะเป็นเด็กหรือเยาวชน
อยู่กับเรา2 ปีออกไปคนที่ต้อนรับเขามากที่สุดคือเพื่อนกลุ่มเดิมในขณะที่สังคมไม่มั่นใจว่าจะต้อนรับเขาดีหรือเปล่านะครับงานก็ไม่มีทำความรู้ก็ไม่มีนะครับเพื่อนฝูงดีๆก็ไปหมดแล้วเรียนหนังสือจบไปหมดแล้วนะครับไม่รู้จะทำอะไรสังคมหรือชุมชนชาวบ้านอาจจะรังเกียจบ้างหรือไม่รังเกียจบ้างให้โอกาสบ้างก็แล้วแต่บางคนอาจจะไม่ได้เจอสิ่งดีๆเหล่านั้นทุกคนสุดท้ายคนที่ต้อนรับเขาแน่นอนคือเพื่อนกลุ่มเดิมนะครับมันก็กลับไปวัฏจักรเดิม
เพื่อโอกาสที่จะมีอนาคตที่ดีและโอกาสที่จะไม่กลับไปผิดพลาดแบบเดิมสังคมที่ดีคือปัจจัยหลักที่จะหล่อหลอมอนาคตของผู้ก้าวพลาดทุกคนไปในทางที่ดีสังคมที่ดีนอกจากจะป้องกันไม่ให้มีการกลับไปกระทำผิดซ้ำยังสามารถสร้างชีวิตที่ดีให้กับเด็กและเยาวชนผู้เคยผิดพลาดอีกด้วยและชีวิตที่ดีนั้นประกอบไปด้วยสติปัญญาที่ดีความคิดที่ดีการศึกษาที่ดีงานที่ดีสภาพจิตใจที่ดีกำลังใจที่ดีทักษะทางสังคมที่ดีความสัมพันธ์ที่ดีสุขภาพที่ดีงานอดิเรกที่ดีที่จะทำให้เกิดประสบการณ์ชีวิตที่ดีและหล่อหลอมผู้คนจนมีชีวิตที่ดีค ความร่วมมือจากภาคเอกชนจึงเป็นกำลังหลักของสังคมที่จะช่วยเหลือให้โอกาสและมอบชีวิตที่ดีให้แก่เด็กและเยาวชนผู้เคยผิดพลาดมูลนิธิบ้านพระพรคือหนึ่งในฟันเฟืองของสังคมที่พร้อมมอบโอกาสให้แก่ผู้พ้นโทษทั้งผู้ใหญ่และเยาวชนเพื่อช่วยเหลือส่งเสริมและสนับสนุนให้คนเหล่านี้มีคุณภาพชีวิตที่ดีมีอาชีพการงานที่สุจริตและสามารถดำรงชีวิตในสังคมได้อย่างมั่นคงเริ่มต้นจากการจัดระบบงานอบรมตลอดจนการสนับสนุนด้านการฝึกวิชาชีพและการช่วยเหลือผู้พ้นโทษมาสู่การให้โอกาสเยาวชนผู้พลั้งผิดโดยวิสัยทัศน์ที่ว่าไม่อยากเห็นเยาวชนเหล่านี้ต้องรับโทษแบบผู้ใหญ่จากการกลับไปกระทำผิดซ้ำเดิม
ถ้าผมไปเริ่มทำงานให้ความช่วยเหลือแบบเดียวกับที่ช่วยนักโทษนะคือไปปรับทัศนคติทางชีวิตใหม่ให้กับเยาวชนนะและถ้าเกิดเยาวชนเหล่านั้นได้ปรับทัศนคติชีวิตมาแนวที่ถูกต้องเขาก็ออกไปทำดีไม่ต้องไปเข้าคุกใหญ่ก็เลยคิดอย่างนั้นเราก็เลยเกิดงานขึ้นมาอีกงานหนึ่งก็คือทำงานกับเยาวชน
นอกจากโอกาสที่ผู้พ้นโทษทั้งผู้ใหญ่และเยาวชนจะได้รับอีกหนึ่งภารกิจของทางมูลนิธิก็คือการให้ความอุปการะเด็กที่เกิดจากแม่ที่อยู่ในเรือนจำและลูกของนักโทษที่พ่อแม่อยู่ในเรือนจำและไม่สามารถดูแลได้มูลนิธิได้รับเด็กเหล่านี้เข้ามาดูแลเลี้ยงดูและสนับสนุนการศึกษาอย่างเต็มที่
จุดแข็งของเราผมคิดว่าเรามีระบบของการจัดเตรียมที่ครบสำหรับเขานะครับไม่ว่าจะเป็นเยาวชนหรือผู้ใหญ่ที่ออกจากเรือนจำเนี่ยเมื่อเขาเข้ามายังบ้านพระพรเนี่ยเรามีระบบการสร้างชีวิตของเขาเนี่ยที่ครบระบบเช่นเขามาถึงที่นี่เนี่ยอันแรกเลยเนี่ยเราตั้งใจเปลี่ยนทิศทางชีวิตเขาก่อนคุณภาพชีวิตของเขาเนี่ยความคิดของเขาคุณภาพของเขาใจของเขาเนี่ยเราต้องการสร้างตรงนี้ให้เขามีทิศทางใหม่ที่ถูกต้องพอหลังจากเขาทำงานกลับไปสู่สังคมแล้วก็ทำงานเลี้ยงตัวเองเลี้ยงครอบครัวได้เราก็จะมีทีมงานคอยติดตามเขาเป็นระยะติดตามเขาเพื่อแน่ใจว่าเมื่อเราส่งเขากลับสู่สังคมแล้วเนี่ยเขายังมั่นคงอยู่เราก็จะมีการติดตามอย่างเงี้ยอีกประมาณ1 ปีเต็มๆเลย
สำหรับเด็กและเยาวชนที่อาศัยอยู่ที่มูลนิธิบ้านพระพรการศึกษาเป็นสิ่งสำคัญที่มูลนิธิพร้อมสนับสนุนและอุปการะและยังมีโครงการฝึกวิชาชีพกว่า10 โครงการที่พร้อมให้สมาชิกทุกคนเข้ารับการฝึกฝนไม่ว่าจะเป็นร้านเบเกอรี่ฟาร์มจิ้งหรีดร้านตัดผมร้านผลิตและซ่อมกีตาร์ร้านสะดวกซื้อร้านกาแฟร้านขายลูกชิ้นทอดร้านขายหมูปิ้งร้านขายไอศกรีมศูนย์ฝึกช่างไฟช่างก่อสร้างและช่างแอร์ทำให้บ้านพระพรเป็นหนึ่งในสถานที่ที่ผู้ก้าวพลาดต้องการเข้ามารับโอกาสก่อนออกไปใช้ชีวิตในโลกภายนอก
ผู้พิพากษาถามว่าทำไมถึงอยากไปที่บ้านพระพรหนูก็เลยบอกว่าจากที่มีพี่ๆเจ้าหน้าที่ที่มูลนิธิอะค่ะเข้าไปอบรมที่บ้านปานีหนูมองว่าเขามีการสนับสนุนดีมีการฝึกอาชีพแล้วก็มีเรียนกศน.
ตอนมาที่นี่ปีแรกๆผมอยากหนีทุกวันอยากไปทุกวันแต่คือผมคิดแล้วคิดอีกคือมันก็ไม่พ้นที่เดิมถ้าผมไปมันก็ไม่พ้นที่เดิมไม่พ้นสังคมเดิมก็เลยตัดสินใจอยู่ให้จบหมายสารแล้วก็กลับไปเกณฑ์ทหารแล้วก็จบแล้วพอที่นี่ก็ส่งผมเรียนไฟฟ้าแล้วตอนนี้ผมก็เรียนกศน.ไปด้วยผมเป็นเด็กคนหนึ่งที่ไม่เคยได้เรียนผมอ่านหนังสือไม่ออกผมเขียนไม่ได้แต่เมื่อผมตัดสินใจผมเอาจริงเอาจังผมอ่านหนังสือได้จากที่ผมไม่เคยเป็นคนที่อดทนกับอะไรเลยไม่เคยที่อยากจะฝึกอะไรเลยวันนี้ผมทำไฟได้วันนี้ผมเดินระบบไฟทั้งอาคารได้แล้วก็วันนี้ผมอ่านได้เขียนได้แล้ว
วันนี้กว่า160 ชีวิตที่มูลนิธิบ้านพระพรได้รับการดูแลที่ดีการอบรมที่ดีกำลังใจที่ดีและการฝึกฝนที่ดีจนมีคุณภาพชีวิตที่ดีและมูลนิธิบ้านพระพรแห่งนี้พร้อมที่จะร่วมมือกับทางภาครัฐต่อไปเพื่อมอบโอกาสที่ดีให้แก่ผู้ก้าวพลาดทุกคนภายใต้กรอบความคิดที่ว่าให้โอกาสสร้างชีวิตสู่สังคม
ค่ะก็
ปรบมือให้กับบ้านพระพรนะคะ
So please give a big round of applause for the House of Blessing Foundation.
เพราะฉะนั้นเนี่ยค่ะสุดท้ายเนี่ยค่ะก็ขอ
So lastly, I would like to inform all of you that for one juvenile to
กลับมากระทำผิดซ้ำอีกเนี่ยค่ะก็คงต้องอาศัย
go back to the society proudly and not recommit any crime, I think it requires partnerships from all sectors. We need to work together. It requires integrative efforts of all sectors in order to provide them with the opportunity to be reintegrated and to continue living their life sustainably. So that means that the criminal justice system must be inconsistent with the UN standards and to reduce recidivism, and also trying to promote people-centered development so that we can improve and progress sustainably. Thank you very much.
ค่ะในช่วงนี้มี
So that is very impressive. Are there any of you here who would like to ask questions or share your opinions with us? Over on Zoom as well, participants over on Zoom can send your questions over in the chat box or just raise your hand so that we can respond to your questions. I think over on Zoom, we have one participant who raised his hand.
คุณสราวุธนะคะ
Kun Saravut, the floor is yours. I think that he is from the Office of Attorney General.
ได้ยินเสียงชัดเจนนะครับ
ค่ะ
Hello, can you hear me clearly?
ขออนุญาตนิดนึงนะครับว่า
So allow me to add from listening to your lecture just now or your presentation just now, and we have heard from different representatives from relevant bodies
งานอะไรต่างๆที่
ranging from all these action plans. I have this opinion
จะเอา
that in our operation, we need to propel our policy recommendations. We need a team of people who are dedicated to work. So it means that a team that consists of people from different organizations, including the MSDHS or from Ministry of Justice, and organizations from the private sector, from the public sector, civil society sectors, women representatives. I think we need to integrate this sort of multidisciplinary team so that we can work together in order to make sure that our actions are fruitful in the future. Of course, we know that there are policies, there are legal instruments, but we need to think about how do we optimize our efforts. I think we need the collaboration from different sectors. I think the private sector is very, very capable, but maybe it's the way the public sector works that we need to improve. Because I have seen that some provinces that have already spearheaded these efforts, like I can see things like in Khon Kaen province, for example, we studied how they work and we look at how they work together and say, together with the Ministry of Social Development and Human Security and also the Court of Administration. I think these key stakeholders or organizations are very, very important and relevant. But then what we found as a problem is that there are not a lot of partnership there. There are not a lot of collaborations there. They might not be part of these attempt to propel these recommendations that we have, into the local level, say in the village level, community level. Of course, the community leaders must be included in our team as well. And another issue is psychologists are very important here as well, because they can help to provide psychological counseling and treatment to juveniles. They are the key people who can help to improve the attitudes and behaviors of the juveniles or ex-offenders. And I think that is something that we need to add into our recommendations as well. so that we can see improvement at the policy level. And over the past 10 years, we have received support from United Nations bodies. And they're providing us with a lot of support in terms of administration, in terms of policy. So I would like to include these 2 points. Thank you. Thank you very much for your opinions and your suggestion. I agree with you that there are challenges that we need to integrate all relevant bodies to work together. And I think the beginning here is that we start to include civil society organizations that are committed to be part of this mission. And I think the civil society sectors by themselves, they already have the network at the community level and also with the public sectors like with the MSDHS or the Ministry of Public Health, and also the Department of Juvenile Observation and Protection is also part of it. So I think that helps to strengthen the work of the civil society sector. So it's not just 2 organizations working together. We are seeing a network of organizations like, say, the DJPO work together with Ministry of Public Health, with civil society organizations. I think that increases the possibility of, trying to make progress. And I agree with you on having a psychologist or psychiatrist to be involved because they can increase awareness and they can also help a lot with psychological treatment in the rehabilitation programs. And they also provide service to personals as well, right? Like at the DJPO, they have some numbers of psychologists. You might see that, oh, the number is not that high, but actually if you compare the clinical psychologists that we have in our society, it's actually quite good. The ratio is very impressive. Of course, we don't have enough, but maybe it's sufficient for us to go forward. So if you look at the partnership and its nature and maybe trying to assign psychologists from DJPO to DJOP to help with organizations like the House of Blessing Foundation, I think that can help us to work more proficiently and also helping us to assess and evaluate psychological state of the juveniles in those facilities. I think that is very helpful. Thank you very much for the questions from Kun Sarawut. And if there are no other questions, please give a big round of applause to Dr. Kittayarak. Thank you very much.
มาถึงประเด็น
Next, now, this is the final topic that is the very, very popular issue that you might have been experienced. Call center scams. And our representatives, the presenters, with solutions. I would like to invite Kun Sarod Atiwitawat, founder and CEO Visible Company Limited, and Kun Pu Vichaya, Office of the Attorney General, Provincial Public Prosecutor, from victim to hunters of the call center gang. So this is the call center gang issue from the middle of May. We got a case of a grandmom. She's like 96. She's at Param 3. Like some people called her. That there is a return of a parcels from Chiang Rai. She said, no, that it wasn't me. But the destination said, no, this is your name. And inside is cannabis. So she's told to report at the police stations at Chiang Rai. And the call center said that it's okay, you can talk to police here because it's impossible for her to go to Chiang Rai at that time. So some people called her claiming to be cyber police. So you can guess the rest that she believed. She transferred the money, 11 million, everything she had. So this is scary for call center gangs, right? This is not only her. There are like 10,000 people. This is only the statistics from the 3 months that got revealed. the damages is 2.5 billion, and we seized back only 80 million. So from when we learned at iCPCJ, we started doing this with the power of TIJ. We can talk to everyone, all upstream and downstream, from the regulators, bankers association, NBTC, who's called police, in order to understand the problems and we see what they did. So personally, I am an entrepreneur. So from my business point of view, I would say that this gang is very good for investment because it has very low investment and high margins and very low apprehension rate because you operate from neighboring countries. It's out of Thai laws, out of our law. And also, if we can arrest, still, we don't get the money back. And these are in other countries. They just got deported. And mostly they are the investor, the real guy didn't get arrested, right? So talking about victims like grandmom, she doesn't want anything. She wants her money back. So from the problem here, from the issues that we see, this is the case, real case, that the time frame is the issue. Because after being scammed and transferring the money, it will be transferred to accounts, mule accounts, like 15 mule accounts to the destination. And it takes like 20 minutes to go through 15 accounts. And the perpetrators spend 20 minutes. But for police, until we are aware that we got scammed, till we got warrants, seizing, freezing of the accounts and everything, we have to go to the banks. It's quite not long, but we cannot make it within 20 minutes. It takes 3 hours. So you see the difference of time, how we can be faster, how we can fix the problems faster. So first thing first, what we see here is that we have law limitation. We have legal limitations that there is no law whatsoever to prevent the sales of mule accounts. So they sell a lot of accounts are posted on sales, about 100,000 accounts. And when police want to freeze that, to freeze the accounts, you can do that immediately? No. We need victims to report to the police until we got the numbers of the case, and then the investigators will start to issue warrants to the banks. So how can we fix the law? It takes a long time until we can amend the law, right? So limitations of law, that is the first one. Second one is about PR. Most people who got scammed, they don't have social media access, like elder generations or people who don't have technology at hand. So they still got scammed in the same way over and over. Solutions for our group, we have 2 ways: proactively and passively. For proactive solutions, we will use innovation to help them to be aware of the scammers or perpetrators. And for passive solutions, we will try to fix the laws and also do better PR. For passive solutions, apart from social medias and news, which is already there, we want to increase offline access as well. We might use health volunteers, temples, community leaders, agencies, and also we increase offline PR media. This is an example of our infographic designs for any agencies. If you want to publicize and raise awareness for those who have access to offline media, this is our PR to publicize. This is an example that we developed to raise awareness of the scammers, call center gangs. And there are many types of media. Many types of scams. Like they got parcels from an international, or you got awarded lottos and you have to pay for the fees or give them personal information in order to send the rewards or something, special rewards. Sorry, can we go back to? Yes. And for passive solutions apart from PR, we will ask to amend the law. First, we will try to convict the sellers of mule accounts, because now we are proposing the money laundering acts already in order to convict the sellers of accounts, but this is like after it is done. In order to prevent the crimes that they will use mule accounts to transfer, we have to do it from the upstream before they commit crimes of fraud, in order to prevent sales of mule accounts. For example, we sell in the Narcotics Act that they have maximum 3-year sentence. We want to increase the authority of police so that they can freeze the accounts. We can ask for BOT as they have regulating power of all banking institutions. Perhaps it can be an announcement or anything that banks can freeze the accounts, even though there are no reports yet, just temporary freezing, in order to prevent money from being transferred to the perpetrators. And also the fourth one is transfer delay. If it's suspicious transfer, we might delay a bit so that police can spend more time to freeze the account before they can transfer the money to the destination. And finally, you can see that what we can do now is after crimes are committed, and we will have to follow with the perpetrators. It's accounts that are opened and sold already to the criminals, mule accounts like that. But we want to interpret the law differently, that they are complicit in fraud. But for money that is lost, we cannot get the money back at all. And this is the issue. That is why we want to amend the law. Next, for the proactive solution, how we can stop the vicious cycle of call center gang, we have this plan, this thinking that we propose to many agencies that want to try as well, but it's not successful yet. What to do? This is the topic, how to turn victims to be hunters. We will do sting operation. So just imagine it with me. For example, if I am sitting at PCT, cyber police, besides the investigator, and I act as the victim. I have like 10K. I have call center, like 30 call center numbers or missed calls or SMS or whatever. And we call them ourselves, intentionally call them the thieves. That's the reason why I have to sit beside the investigator, because I know that the time frame is limited. I will say I will tell him that I'm the victim and we can investigate online, real time. When we call the perpetrators, we just act, pretend to believe them. We continue talking with them, just like grandmom, and in the end, we will get the account number, right? We transfer immediately 5,000 baht, and the police officer, they will just follow the money. They have line group. They have all the banks on the line group. Currently, they work together with bank association. They have that cooperation already. So they can follow the money real time, where the money goes. And as we know, it transferred to 15 accounts. So in order to follow the path of money real time, and while I'm still talking to the perpetrators, but we work real time, right? The money is there. Now, the investigator beside me, he can freeze the account. So this model, I think, should work. And if it works, if it's successful, it's effective, right? We can scale up. First, we can work with applications like Who's Call. CEO is here. Who's Call? There are 8-9 million users. We don't need to do much. It's just some people calling and then can forward suspicious lines. You can just press one button and just send to police. And then police can buy and bust. But it's suitable for technology, tech-savvy people like smartphone users. Might be a little bit difficult for some groups of people. If it's too difficult, we should create virtual numbers up to 10,000. And then the 10,000 numbers should be sold in the black markets, dark webs. The same place that all the perpetrators buy, right? All the money, all the names and phone numbers, right? It got sold in the dark markets like 5 baht, 10 baht, right? So one A4 would be like 100 baht. So we just sell our numbers in the dark webs, and then all 1K numbers will be transferred to PCT police, cyber police. So if we can scale up, we will show you later how it works. But for the public, if you have numbers like this, please just press SOS, and then police will pick up the line for you. Like this. From our collaboration with all multidisciplinary people, from this SOS, you press this and it will be forwarded to police, and the perpetrators will not know. And we ask about information, accounts and everything, and we can follow the money. And from this collaboration, it's existing. We don't need to create new ones. We can follow the money real time. 15 accounts, 50 accounts, whatever, we can follow. Because in Thailand, we have only 20-something banks, right? So the problem is the gang. We can fix from the collaboration from all stakeholders. Just that I want everyone to work together comprehensively, holistically, with the power of iCPCJ, TIJ. This is why we can have access to everyone. You know, if I walk in there, nobody would talk to me. But with TIJ, I can talk to everyone from the upstream to downstream. So I believe that all the problems can be fixed. Just 3 ways. First, law limitation, just like prosecutor Phiset. That about technology, I can confirm with you that I have been working on this my whole life. It's easy, it's simple. And the final point is courage. So from all the comments from everyone, law you can fix, but it takes 2 years. We cannot wait. right? People got scammed every day. But if you have the courage to find the interpretation of current law, and now we did with the banks association, we have done a lot of things. And if we can get through 3 points, we can fix the problems. It's not only in Thailand, but Korea and USA also have the same problems. Taiwan, China, they have value of damages up like more than us, like 100 times. If we're successful, we're going to be a case study for other countries, right? Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Any questions? Any questions for this group on Zoom? Or any opinions? This is very interesting, right? Again, please. Thank you very much. I'm quite late today, sorry, because I came from Ang Thong. And prosecutor, you mentioned something very interesting. Like in order to freeze the mule accounts, the owners will also be convicted, right? Will be indicted, right? If your account has been used in the scams. What I want to know is, at first, when they open account is normal, right? But it turns to be a mule. How we can control that from happening? With your permission, I would like to answer that when you open an account yourselves and you use the account yourselves, there is no conviction or nothing wrong with that. You can see a little signage saying that if you open your accounts and let others use it, for example, narcotic users, narcotic dealers, you will also be held accountable in complicit of money laundering. So crimes must be related to narcotics first before we can convict you. But now, if you sell your account, there is no law currently that when you sell your account, it's a crime or it's an offense. It will be an offense when somebody uses it and crimes are committed, and the owner will be convicted in complicit in fraud. But from my perspective, when you prevent things like that, it's after crimes have been committed, right? So if you are an owner of accounts and you have the intent to give your accounts to others' usage, which means you know that they must use your account in something illegal. So after sales is not a crime, it's not an offense. It must be used first. So this is why our team wants to propose that after sales, you should know that your account might be used to scam others. That is an offense already. Just like Narcotics Act, that it said that if you sell accounts to for usage relation to narcotics, that is an offense. Maximum 3-year sentence and 60K fine. So I think that we want to pass this new law that if you sell your account is immediately an offense, just like electronic act, that if you use electronic cards of others to use, which is going to be cause damages to others, that is an offense already. You don't need to wait until they scam somebody already, until we have to convict, because the money is not there anymore when you convict them or you arrest them. You arrest villagers who sell accounts for like 1 or 2K baht only. So this is our team wants to propose. That is all. No. My question is that your case is about you on a fight on the intent that the first people who opens the account might not have the intention, but one day, some people used it. Or if it's a legal entity, perhaps the managers might not just, have time to look at the account. And legal entity is also a bank account, right? And some officers in the company might be using this one occasionally. Perhaps you have to look at the details as well, that there might be some exceptions, or I just want you to look at this as well. Thank you, Kun Thanagrit, very much. You have any more questions from Kunนึ่ง? In relation to mule accounts, I want to know if it's possible that you look at the intent first. I don't know if you had this discussion already, because you said that if you sold accounts, then it's a crime already. What about the intent? Intent to sell. For example, if you advertise on Google or any other platforms that you want to sell, just the intent already that you want to sell or buy accounts. Many times we can see announcements like that, right? On Google. So we can see the points that they can meet in the middle. That is the market. You can develop the law that just announcements or intent to sell, that is a crime. In fact, I tried writing down amendments in relation to the criminal law that is existing, that when you advertise or you sell accounts, that might damage others, which means that in case of advertisements of accounts sales that might damage others, I think it's possible to interpret it that way, when you advertise the sales. And in this part, I think we can prove the intent that they want to sell accounts, that is possible that it can cause damage. And if it happens, okay, it will be a crime element. But the owner of the company might not be aware of the usage by employees, for example. So you have to look at the intent as well, because for criminal code, you have to look at intent as well. If we can prove the intent that it can be used 1, 2, 3, 4, something like that, is kind of suppression. If you do not sell, you will not commit a crime. It is suppression of crimes. So if they do that, of course, you will be indicted in complicit. พานุร่วมรัก one of the participants. We want to support you and your presentation here, especially for the intent of mule accounts, that we want to just look at the sales of accounts can be non-criminal or not. For example, if I'm a foreigner without any permits, I cannot open accounts. So perhaps I might borrow my friend's accounts or buy an account. So you can see it can be non-criminal, right? So the presenter said that the intent, or in order to suppress the sales of accounts, I think we might use the word intent of illegal behaviors or activities. That would be great. I think your proposal is very interesting about the proactive solutions. I understand that can change from victims to be hunters. I feel like we are doing something, right? and we feel great. We feel satisfied. But this is like a thin line between law, investigation, or we like trick them to, because we trust that they are criminals, right? So we trick them to do it in front of us. So perhaps we have to be very, very careful for officers to survive ethically. I just want you to, I just want to invite you to think with me that this intention, like for example, there are two types of criminals. Perhaps they have opportunities and they interact with senior people and they commit crimes, but you know, we call them, this is like sting operation, right? For some society, this is like you, it's quite severe, and it reflects that you don't know what to do, so you have to use this Hail Mary solution. So perhaps we have to just consider it carefully, because it's not really illegal, but you know, quite not really ethical or something. I want to listen to your opinions or analyze in this way as well. What do you think about this one? Do you think about this one, that you trick them into committing crimes? In order to be, you know, perfect, we want the perpetrators to call us, right? But for sting operations like this is outbound. Outbound meaning we call them. Proof of concepts that it's doable. But if we have budgets, we can start inbound, which means we can work with who's call, or we can create virtual numbers. We can do that from day one. But this is like simple without a lot of efforts, right? We can just use the whatever we have with police and banks association. This is why we have this solution with this. And I think that proof of concept is just like, we don't need to try that many. We don't use it on gray cases, we use it on black cases. And if it's successful, we will just stop. And then the second phase, we might, you know, wait for perpetrators to call us, so that you don't feel bad ethically. Yes, correct. You don't need to do it, but you let police to work proactively to hunt them, instead of, you know, waiting for them to call us every day. We call them. Yes, I'm proposing criminal procedure code. I'm proposing amendment on criminal procedure code. Yes, I was a committee of law amendment many times, and it took a lot of time to do it, and it's not easy to amend any laws. And in order to be useful, and I just want to say that this is a hot issue for the society, that call center gangs are viral. So we might need a parliament or the government to see the issue, so it can be passed faster. But they have to understand, like today, right? You invited me, that's why I'm listening, and I can see that if we have an act that focused on this issue, is going to be very, very fast instead of amendment. Thank you very much. From our group, apart from proposing amendment of criminal procedure code, we will borrow Banks Association authority to regulate banks and financial institutions, to have announcements or regulations to freeze accounts We talked to BOT before, we talked to Banks Association before, and they don't have the power to freeze, even though victims call them, because they need to wait for the warrant from police. So that's why we discussed this, that we have this Article 39, that if BOT thinks that this is urgent, they can pass an announcement. We can use this Article 39 for Bank of Thailand to issue a recommendation of commercial institutions to freeze any accounts for the victims. This is also another channel that our team studied already. Thank you very much. I would like to add a bit. I am a member of this group. Overall picture, what we presented here, we would like to just propose to you models how to work together between all agencies, government and non-government private sectors, and use the technology to solve crimes, especially for this computer crimes or technology crime. We use technology to fix technology crimes. So overall picture, this is what we do. And in details, I understand that there are issues which are delicate. We might need to pick the best option for everyone. So thank you very much for all the comments from everyone here. Any other comments? Who's called Taiwan CEO? He or she innovated this one. Sorry. No, we have to be concise. We don't have much time left.
Sawadee krap. Right. Yeah, this is the only Thai I can speak. Right. So all of a sudden, but this is my honor to be here and then to listen to your great proposal. And I'm Jeff. I'm from Taiwan, and my company is called Gogoluk, and our flagship product is Who's Call. Yeah, and I keep hearing that from your proposals, and we actually start our service 10 years ago. Yeah, because I think Taiwan is well known for also the origination of all the a phone scam, phone a fraud. Yeah, it's true. From I think 10 to 15 years ago, we already have very serious of phone fraud. So that's why we developed Who's Call 10 years ago. And since that, we try to collaborate with also the whole community. And then these days, we collaborate with the government in Taiwan, right? But still, a huge problem keep happening. Because we all know the technology and AI, they are neutral, right? So the problem is the people who are using it. And when someone with an evil mind to use it, it's just like a nuclear weapon. It can have so much damage. And in order to use the technology in a good part, it's harder. But we also believe the good people is much a number, outnumber of the bad people. So that's why through these years, keep improving, keep fighting with the criminals, we have seen some improvement. But still, this is endless law. This is the endless war to fight with the evil. And I'm really glad to hear your proposal, because even in Taiwan, we didn't see these kind of things, like a government and private sector's idea to work together. And I have to say this is a really good proposal, and I will try my best. And I also hope all you guys to join hands and all together and to solve this problem, right? So just very short comment, and this is a very impressive proposal, right? So I will try my best, and let everyone work together. Thank you.
Thank you.
เรียกว่าเต็มอิ่มมากๆเลยสำหรับกลุ่มนี้นะคะเดี๋ยวขอเสียง
Oh my God, this group! Please, a round of applause for this group. If you have any questions on Zoom, please feel free to chat. We will let speakers answer you. So now I'd like to thank presentation from all the groups, and we'd like to thank all questions and opinions from all participants here as well, here and also on Zoom. Now, if you have interest, if you want to know more about our presentations, TIJ Academy will have clips for each topic and publicized on TIJ Academy Facebook fan page. So please follow us. And next, now we would like to invite all participants to complete the questionnaire, satisfaction questionnaire of this event. This is QR code. So please kindly scan and complete questionnaires for us. For Zoom, we will send you the link. We will send you the link in the chat box. Okay, next. Next, I would like to invite Dr. Phiset Sa-ardyen, Executive Director of TIJ and Advisor of iCPCJ, to deliver closing remarks, please.
เรียนท่านผู้มีเกียรติทุกท่านนะครับจริงๆก็เป็น
Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests,
สถาบัน TIJ เราก็ได้เปิดบ้านต้อนรับ
a great opportunity for CIJ to open our house to welcome everyone who are interested to join this activity both online and on site. So the importance of today's event, there are two things that I would like to highlight. I think the first part of it, I think you already saw that this is a platform for all of us to hear the proposals and which are the results of arduous efforts given by participants of iCPCJ program, which is the flagship program of TIJ. And we have also seen many interesting recommendations, and it reflects the insight and the understanding that participants have over the issue in many dimensions. So all of us here who designed this program, I would like to say that this is more than we expected originally. And I think this is like a charming point about this kind of program or activity, because these collaborative efforts and the results that we see is not something that can be planned beforehand. This is the result of interactions among participants, and all of them work together collaboratively. Together with TIJ, we play a minor part here. Actually, the key players are the participants of this program who have created this very impressive performance today. And I would like to also say thank you to all the presenters of the presentations today, because it is a public forum, right? Today we gather here as part of TIJ Public Forum. These platforms, we have the intention to build for all stakeholders to have the opportunity to look at the challenges, the issues of criminal justice system or justice issues. And so I would like to encourage them to listen to the presentations, to the ideas, and also to share their ideas as well. So the fact that all these iCPCJ members helped us to, shine the spotlights on very interesting topics, I think it makes this public forum very, very meaningful. So in order to summarize what I've listened to, this is actually not a good thing to do, because of course it will kind of compromise the lessons learned today, because I can't capture everything comprehensively. But I think there are 2 to 3 keywords that we would like to take home with. The first keyword is not leaving anyone behind. There are many recommendations today that I heard that are trying to include those who are often excluded, say, the juveniles who misstep, juveniles who have taken the wrong path, and also even children of prisoners. Although it's a small population, maybe not even 1% of female prisoners, but they are humans. They have to face hardships, and so they deserve to be assisted, to be taken care of. Maybe it's not a good term to use the word assist because they are the ones who should receive the rights, right? They have the rights to exercise, but we should be part of the mechanism to make it happen for them. Another thing is alternative. I think this is very impressive because the heart of this program, like the fact that we invited all of you to join us, is that we are trying to find new innovations. We are here to find alternatives. And another keyword that is very, very clear is participation, partnership, and the fact that we need to try to understand or try to find new solutions for the criminal justice system. It's very difficult to do it alone. But if we integrate different perspectives from different sectors, trying to find or to delve into capacities of new players, like say House of Blessing Foundation, for example, from the civil society sector, I think it helps us to see there are many untapped capacities that we can draw upon, and many times we might have overlooked it. Sometimes we might think that it's impossible, it's difficult to implement. But if we do our homework, if we create an environment that is conducive to trust building, we can act as a bridge. Like TIJ is trying to be the bridge. But all of you here today, also act as a proof of concept to show that us being the bridge is very much plausible and viable. So I think by having these bridges, it helps us to see new innovations. It helps us to see the capacities of many players, and it helps as a game-changing moment. I think this is something that I could see from the public forum today. Another point is I think that we should not forget that amongst possibilities and opportunities presented to us today from the presentations, both from participants at home and on site, we also have to acknowledge and accept that the criminal justice system in Thailand, there are many pressing challenges. That is the background of what we are talking about today. So the essence that we have to accept is, from what I'm trying to extract from the presentations today, is that we are still the society that gives a lot of weight to sentences, like that are rather mainstream and restrictive in terms of liberty and freedom. So you can see that whenever we look for alternative, many groups are trying to find new measures that will, allow youth offenders to not be imprisoned. But I think we are still very much punitive in nature. And this is something that I reflect upon today. And I think, as a public forum like this today, we have to not only look at the concrete solutions, we also have to look at the structural issues that we have to face, something maybe more abstract. And so this is something that we need to find solutions. It's a big problem, but we need to find the solutions to it. And another major issue that have become much clearer now is the needs and wants of practitioners to find solutions or to implement the solutions, but they face many limitations posed by the criminal justice system itself. And because if this is very a system that we have to be careful about, because it can lead to very heavy punishment if we enforce it wrongly. So in order to solve problems that all of us agree that it's very clear to us, trying to use the opportunities to find that some people might be at a disadvantage, right? And we are trying to draw upon that. I think it's not something that we should allow to happen. And so I think we need to test our approach, try to implement the tools. Maybe we need to find more tools to help practitioners to overcome challenges posed by the structure itself, because it can be something that is, there's a lag there. We are trying to move. It's as if you are moving in the pool. There's a lot of resistance, that stop us from moving. Of course, there are people with a goodwill, people who are committed to find solutions or to implement solutions, but they face a lot of restriction. They face a lot of resistance in trying to find that in order to actually implement the change. So I think the TIJ or iCPCJ program and all of us here today can help to make you feel more encouraged, and the resistance can be perceived as some sort of a resistance training, in terms of physical training, so that, it's a long-term game that we are playing here. And so I personally believe that I can see a beacon of hope. And so I would like to say thank you to everyone who presented today, and also the team to provide us the support. I think I can see a lot of development here and a lot of progress. And I think that the online participants could also see and also agree with me that the presentations today are very valuable and it is very thought-provoking. So I would like to say thank you to all the participants of iCPCJ program. And also I hope that viewers, the audience can benefit from it. And hopefully we can organize this sort of activity again next year, and hopefully we'll hear more innovations that can help make the criminal justice system better. Maybe it can help us to reduce the resistance that we face today, and giving us the courage to press forward, and also trying to incorporate more partnership with stakeholders from different sectors, and to see more integration and collaborations further in the future. Thank you very much. So thank you very much, Dr. Phiset Sa-ardyen, the Executive Director of TIJ and TIJ Advisor. And also, I would like to also invite Ms. Naoki Sugano, the Crime Prevention Criminal Justice Officer from UNODC, to give us a special thank you speech. And I would like to also invite Kun Somanat Chersikun, she's Director of TIJ Academy. So I would like to invite Mr. Naoki and Kun Somanat here on stage.
Well, good afternoon, distinguished participants, Dr. Phiset, everyone. It's been such a pleasure for me to be part of this iCPCJ program. It's congratulations, first of all, for the successful organization of this public forum today. I thought it was really thought-provoking, and it brought me very good memories of this extensive 6 months of the iCPCJ course. When I first heard about the program, I thought it was quite ambitious, but it was also something that is worth committing for the UNODC as well, because I thought the modules were all very well thought and structured, and also not just doing the studying, but also doing something, translating into action. Solution was something that thought was really interesting. And today I was able to hear the presentations, which all build up on what has been done throughout the program. So congratulations to everyone. I really enjoyed it, and I sort of wish I could be part of any of those projects actually, because for coming back, putting on the Japanese prosecutor's hat, the last presentation on phone scam was something that I can certainly relate to, because that's also a major issue in Japan. And we have criminalized selling the bank accounts for one, and also setting up a bank account with intent to selling those bank accounts could constitute a fraud against the bank. So those are the kinds of amendment legislation that Japan did. And also I understand the universal issue, especially where people care about their families and care about their elderly people, I think, or those affections are exploited by the criminals. I think that's something that Japan and Thailand also, or people in this region, shares in common. So that was something that was really thought-provoking for me for the last presentation, but all the others as well. I remember going to the House of Blessing with the group, and also I had several opportunities to visit Thai prisons, Thai female prisons as well, where the babies of the inmates are taken well care of, and I see how much emphasis and resource that you put into these matters. Something that I was very much impressed, and as a UNODC official, very happy to work with TIJ and the Thai prison authorities. We've been working closely with the Thai prison authorities lately, and we wish to build on that part as well. And also what Jeremy mentioned at the beginning is the new standards and norms being developed, the presentation about the reintegration of juvenile offenders today, and also the House of Blessing initiative. These are all something that can contribute to the newly developed standards and norms of the UN. So once again, all these were really an action or perfect example of shaping the standards and norms together and also implementing. So it was really a pleasure for me to be part of this program, and I really wish to continue working with you on various matters, including the iCPCJ. So thank you once again. Thank you, Somanat. I'm sorry, I think I kind of spoke too much. I think it was just 3 minutes, 2-3 minutes. But anyways, this is how much I appreciate the work event today and all the progress. So thank you once again.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sugano. I'm not sure if you can hear me. So thank you very much, Mr. Naoki Sugano, for providing us a brief summary and also to show his feelings towards iCPCJ program. So as I myself, as a director of TIJ Academy and iCPCJ program advisor, it reminded me of the first day when we thought about creating this iCPCJ program. I talked to all the team members and I talked to Mr. Sugano as well. We have designed different models, but the beginning, I think it's from looking at TIJ as a traveler who, over the past 10 years, TIJ have been to many places. We went to, including the United Nations, and we see ourselves as, a traveler who have discovered many treasure troves. And we believe that these treasures should be beneficial to Thailand, to the justice system in Thailand. So we have this ambition to draw on all the treasures that we have found so that it benefits Thailand as a country. So that's why we started this program. So iCPCJ program has been designed to accommodate this, to make sure that everyone involved in the justice system can benefit from what we have discovered from all around the world. So I myself, as the director of the TIJ Academy, I would like to say thank you to all of our partners. Thank you very much to Mr. Sugano for being here with us since day one and assisting us so much. And also, I would like to say thank you to all the TIJ advisors, Kun Kittipong, Kun Jeremy, and also Dr. Phiset, Kun Pongthep, Kun Nati, for being with us right from day one and providing us many valuable recommendations and suggestions, and also all organizations in the justice system to send their representatives to be part of iCPCJ program, and also, of course, the private sector that decided to be part of this initiative, albeit not knowing what's going to happen to them. So thank you very much for taking this journey together, for accompanying us on this journey. And so I promise that all the findings, all the lessons learned will be shared with all relevant organizations later. And the program doesn't end here. Of course, we are very successful with the first batch. we will see the second batch next year. Towards the end of this year, I think we can start to take applications. So if you're interested, so the first batch, if you are still interested in becoming the second batch, so please keep an eye on this. If you want to be like a live membership with us. So if you want to get the updates on this program, you can follow us on TIJ Academy fan page or from TIJ Academy website. So distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to take this opportunity as a representative of TIJ Academy to close the event today. And I would like to say thank you very much to all participants over on Zoom. Of course, it's a one long public forum. Thank you for staying with us from the beginning to the end. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Have a good day.